make oneself a hearty breakfast, wearing cute five-toed socks, and a pair of embroidered lady slippers. These slippers are a keepsake from my late wife. The food he made looks really delicious, sitting alone, quietly enjoying breakfast. There's another long box on the table. That's the Heartfelt long box he made for his son. The man's name is Arthur. He lives in a remote little mountain village. This is his house. The house is surrounded by misty mountains. It looks like a paradise on earth here. Arthur's life is simple yet orderly. He must check the weather report while having breakfast because the weather determines his routine for the day. He only goes to work on sunny days. He says goodbye to his late wife's photo before leaving, then drives into the mountains to start his day's work. Arthur is a lumberjack. That day, he was preparing to fell a towering tree. At that moment, he hears a man shout in the distance, but the chainsaw is too loud. Arthur can't hear anything other than the soft noise. Then, a thrilling scene unfolds. Sorry to interrupt. We're currently filming, so... What? It's official shooting now. What? They're filming a movie over there. So what? The man meant that Arthur's chainsaw noise was disturbing the film shoot. Could you pause for a moment? Arthur is kind and hardworking. Facing the man's unfair demand, he stayed calm. He just asked the man if he could prune the branches. The man said it's okay if it's quiet. So Cliff quickly climbed up the tree. He pruned branches from a tree over 10 meters tall. In no time, he reached the top of the tree. His agility and strength don't look like those of a 69-year-old man. Years of working with the weather. Even when the sky is perfectly clear, it can still set signs of an approaching storm. It's about to rain. How long until it starts? Roughly 30 minutes. Everyone looked up at the sky. They were all eagerly awaiting the rain. For these lumberjacks, rain means a day off. Sure enough, 30 minutes later, it started pouring. The workers sat in the room, eating and chatting, laughing and talking. They seemed relaxed. Everyone called Arthur Old Cliff. After lunch, Old Cliff drove home. The clothes hanging at the door were soaked by the rain. He stormed inside with the clothes, but his son was enjoying the loving lunchbox Old Cliff had prepared. It's raining. Old Jack wants to teach his lazy son a lesson, but he gets knocked down by his strong son. The son is on Old Jack, one in the hip but holds back. Old Jack slaps his son across the face. Then he quickly asks his son if he's okay. Next, Old Jack tells his son to clear the 26th sky. The son asks why. That's the anniversary of your mom's passing. Got it. Old Jack and his son have a strained relationship. The son switches jobs every few days. He lacks commitment to anything. This makes Old Jack very distressed, but raising his son is harder than anything for him. One day, Old Jack encounters a broken down car on the way into the mountains. He discovers it's someone shooting a movie in the mountains. There's one more with him, a seemingly downcast, quiet young man. Kind-hearted Old Jack offers them a ride to their destination. It's the assistant director. He came to the mountains seeking a river wide enough for 10 people to stand side by side. But the mountains here are vast and deep. They have no idea where to look for the river. Old Jack worked in the deep mountains all his life. He knows the location of every river. So he leads Tori and his companion to search for the river. First, he brings them to a very quiet creek. Tori is left speechless. He clearly stated he was looking for a river wide enough for 10 to cross, not this narrow stream. But Old Jack is squatting in the stream catching crabs. This left Tori speechless. So Old Jack took Tori to another river. This one is indeed spacious, but across the river, there is a large inn. How can a film shoot take place in a place like this? Tori is still not satisfied with this river. If they can't find a suitable shooting river, they can't report back to the boss. Tori gets flustered while reporting his work. Meanwhile, the young man sitting in the cart is just staring blankly. The young man's attitude annoyed Old Jack. What's wrong with you? What? Aren't you helping him? Besides, you are his junior. Come on, get moving! How did it move? You can still do something, right? I feel awkward. But when the young man went to help Tori grab something, he was rejected. At a loss, he looked at Old Jack in the car. I know. But Old Jack no longer wanted to help Tori find a river. He has already wasted half a day's work. Old Jack eventually agreed to take them to Kukukobua. To save time, Old Jack took the two with him. They took a shortcut to Kukukobua. They walked uphill through the woods. 69-year-old Old Jack walked briskly ahead. Tori and the other were panting heavily behind him until a few minutes passed. A beautiful river appeared before them. Tori and his friend liked the river. Then Old Jack took Tori and his companion to a shop below the mountain. Tori stood by the road waiting for the film crew to arrive. Meanwhile, the young man sat nearby like a fool, only reading a book. He didn't even express thanks to Old Jack. The somewhat silly shopkeeper, Yoshio, asked, somewhat embarrassed, "Do you act as their help?" "Not exactly helping." "Do you get movies?" "Nope." "Then how are you helping?" "I said I'm not helping at all." and Old Jack had to get to work alright. Just then, Tori made another request. It's easy to get lost in hills. Tori forgot those complex paths they walked earlier, so he asked Old Jack to guide their filming crew to Pukao River again. He should be able to find his way. Let him lead. He hasn't done much since. He hasn't done anything. Hey, young man, you can handle this little thing, right? It's just about guiding. Sorry.
Better to let him go.
Reluctantly, Old Jack had to be the nice guy. He led the crew back into the mountains to Pukao River, since he had to guide them out after the shoot. During the shoot, he could only sit aside playing with sand. In the end, he got chased away for being in the way. You're in the way!
Could you please run over there? That way. Quick, run! Run fast. Hurry up!
At that moment, Tori troubled Old Jack again. The crew needs more help, so he pleaded with Old Jack to act as an extra. Old Jack didn't refuse. It was painted with a creepy style. The crew briefed him on near a minute of performing. When they asked if he had questions, he responded like this.
No problem, right?
What? At that moment, another crew member who always gets confused made a mistake. He was hit by the boss. I'm asking if you know. Old Jack comforted the young man. He suddenly realized that his son might also be bullied out there. I'm sorry. Then Old Jack heard the director's command and began his performance. Yet being a lumberjack, he had no acting skills, so he was strongly criticized by the crew. Please perform well. Even as a background character, you're still on camera. During the break, he saw that idle young man again. Hey, useless, serval. Old Jack thought he was genuinely trying to help. The crew didn't even thank him. Then they scolded him instead. This made Old Jack very angry. The young man consulted the crew again and told Old Jack he could leave. However, the crew refused. 2 days later, Tori personally came to see Old Jack. He brought mooncakes to thank Old Jack for the last time. Tori said the crew would screen the trial version tonight. He asked Old Jack if he wanted to see his performance. However, Clark had no interest in it. His colleagues asked Clark if he acted in the movie.
Just a moment.
Impressive. Everyone's curious about Clark. Clark wasn't very good at expressing himself. This is how he described his performance. Just a few steps. Falling down, then standing up, and hit by a bullet. Hit it! Amid the praise from his co-workers, Old Jack wore a proud expression. He really enjoyed that feeling, so he started sharing more details about his performance. Then he stood up again. What came next? Let's go! Hit again. Great. So cool. After hearing everyone's approval, he changed his mind. He chose to see the screening tonight. After seeing himself in the film, he smiled sneakily. He suddenly found making movies starting to become interesting. That night, while soaking in the hot spring, he oddly spoke the lad's lines.
I'm going to kill all of you.
Then he began acting like a clawing zombie. Just then, the young man he called useless appeared. The young man had heard the hot spring here was nice, so he traveled a long way to try it out. Old Jack approached the young man to chat, but the young man ignored Old Jack, so Old Jack inched closer. Then he proudly said, "Did you watch that thing called a demo reel? I appeared in it."
That's me.
Throughout the chat, the young man had an awkward expression on his face. After the hot spring, the young man asked Old Jack to drive him to the station. Old Jack kept asking about the movie. He had only filmed a few shots, so he didn't know the whole plot of the film. The tired young man dismissively replied, "It's just a horror zombie movie." His answer greatly dissatisfied Old Jack. "Hey kid, explain it properly." The young man had to explain it all and tell Old Jack the entire plot of the movie. Soon, civilization falls. However, the remaining 60 people face a very tricky problem. Half of the children they bear are little zombies, since zombies eat people. It was only then that Old Jack learned that zombies eat people. The young man didn't want to continue. He personally wrote the script, but he always doubts that what he wrote is a bad script. However, Old Jack was intrigued. He found the story very interesting. He urged the young man to keep going. Reluctantly, the young man pressed on. The female lead in the movie is a girl named Lynn. One day, Lynn's fiancé was eaten by a zombie. To get revenge for her fiancé, Lynn grew the village women's bamboo spear team. The women's bamboo spear team seeks vengeance for lost loved ones. At this point in the story, Old Jack's car happened to arrive at the station. Old Jack urged the young man not to miss this train at all, because this is a station in a mountain village, so there's only one train every day. If you miss this train, you'll have to wait until tomorrow. Before parting, the young man gave Old Jack the movie script. This made Old Jack very excited. Go for it, young one. While the young man waited for the train at the station, Tori brought 2 people to seize him. It turned out this young man was the director of the zombie film. He always feared that such a script, the resulting film, would not be accepted, so he wished to escape. But filming had started, fueled by more than his passion. That's why Tori was so angry. The young man kept apologizing and had to stay to finish filming. But just then, another person quietly boarded a train and fled. He was the one who always made mistakes on set and got scolded. This scene is quite poignant. The director, who sought to run away, stayed